Another big major retailer says it will be cutting health coverage for their part-time workers in response to changes coming from the president's health care law. ABC, OBC, ACA, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. Who's the company and why? Paul Bazell is an HR consultant. Thanks for coming on, Paul. Who's the big company dumping employees into Obamacare?
Thanks for having me, Joe. Target appears to be the latest, certainly not the only, but the latest of the larger employers, name brand, household names that are making some tough choices regarding their health insurance.
Okay, so they're joining places like Home Depot. Home Depot's done it, Trader Joe's, among others that have dumped part-time employee coverage to save on health care costs. What do you think's been the feeling from folks who work for these companies, Target now included?
As with most healthcare discussions, the response and what is a plus for one person is a minus for the next person. It's purely situational. It depends on the person's age, how healthy they are or are not. Some employees will find that, as stated in the article you were referencing, that it will actually be an advantage for them. But for a lot of employees, what they're going to see is they're going to end up paying a whole lot more money, and in some cases, money they don't have.
And in some cases, they may decide to leave the company and look for work elsewhere. Could that be possible?
That could certainly be possible, and that would perhaps be an undesirable outcome, a repercussion of Target's decision.
I guess Target's trying to be nice.
A trend, so
I'm sorry.
They might go someplace else, but they may find that this is pretty much the same that they're going to find in most places as time goes on.
Well, Target's trying to be kind of nice to them in a way, Paul, because I guess they're offering these employees vouchers, $500 vouchers, to make the transition a little easier. So they don't have to do that either, do they?
You bring up a good point, and you're correct. They do not have to do that, and as a matter of fact, the law does not even allow that the amount of that voucher, which I believe is $500, to receive favorable tax treatment. So effectively, it's just like Target gave those people a raise, which would be taxable to them.
Okay, so Paul, you work in this line of business in HR. What companies might be next to follow Target's lead and Home Depot's lead and Trader Joe's lead?
Any employer that has that relies on a part-time workforce or has a population of low-wage earners, doesn't have to be a big company like a Target or a Home Depot or a Trader Joe's. The small factory up the street from you is just as much liable to do this as a big company. So It is definitely a trend, and companies are just doing the best they can to manage the increased costs that come with healthcare reform compliance.
What's your gut tell you about this, Paul? Ultimately, what will the impact be for these companies as a whole?
Oh, you're asking the tough questions now. Fearless forecast is that employer-sponsored health insurance will eventually go the way of the defined benefit pension plan, meaning that it will become too expensive for employers to afford. It will become too unruly, too much regulation for companies to tolerate. So this will ultimately, in our mind, become an individual purchase, and that's what we foresee in the future. Employers may or may not have a part in it.
Thanks, sir. Paul Bazell, HR consultant. Traffic and weather in 2 minutes on 570 WSYR.
When you think traffic can't get any worse, there's a better way with traffic on the 10s. Mornings on Syracuse's news, weather, and traffic station, 570 WSYR.